Hello, this is James Marlowe. It's the 5th of February 2012. The time is 17. No, it's not. It's 1947. And I've just watched a program which was recommended to my lovely lady, by my lovely lady, I'm sorry I can't speak, called Strictly Soulmates. And it's a series, if you haven't seen it or heard of it, it's this series where they look at dating and relationships in various different religions. And the first one, the one I just watched, was evangelical slash, I guess, is Protestant, if you're going to talk broadly, that kind of Christianity. And that's of interest for me in two different ways. The first one is that I'm a practicing Christian in a practicing Christian relationship. Secondly, I'm interested in the media portrayal of Christians in general. I think it's quite interesting. And firstly, or is it secondly, it feels really weird to be represented neutrally on national television. Sure, it was BBC Three, but people still watch BBC Three. But I mean, not to have a media attention which looks at real issues within the culture of Christianity. Very few and far between. To have it to be represented in the media without labels like zealots and Bible bashers or hypocrites. Oh yeah, that's something. Um, I think to the non-believing community and other religious communities perhaps, that when you're a Christian you're either a zealot or a hypocrite. And I don't think that's right. Actually, or do I? I think if they're at either end of the spectrum, I think there's a lot of grey area, and I need to think on that before I go any further. So yeah, to have neutral representation of us in a really frank way about Christian culture is in a way it's refreshing, but in another way, Christian culture is a little bit embarrassing. I don't know what it was about it that I found embarrassing on the See, I'm not embarrassed by the church as a concept, but I am embarrassed by the things the church can do. And it's little things, like at the Christian festival, one of the people the program was about was at. It just said, one of the things was the label, it said prayer tent. Now, it's not a big deal, but you've got to understand, I'm trying to see this through non-believing eyes. And it just seems a bit, I don't know, a bit, what's the word? Cutesy, alternative-y, trying to be, yeah, that's what it is. It's the Christian community trying to look normal. And that's because they are normal. But when you dedicate screen time to that level of normality, something as normal as a prayer tent, when you dedicate screen time to that in a society where screen time isn't ever devoted to that, looks a bit weird. So to have one thing standing out on its own is difficult. Okay, and so yeah, representation, mixed bag, for the reasons I explained. Secondly, it's about to do with relationships, and they went a whole 11 minutes without mentioning the S word, which was quite impressive, considering that's one of the bigger deals that society has with Christian relationships. It's sexlessness in unmarried couples. That's what makes it a bit weird for society. I call it life. Um, yeah, I mean, it did represent. Thing is, it did represent relationships in quite a good way, an apt way. but it's difficult because everyone has slightly different relationship values. Like some people be very much of the opinion like you know there's one person out there for you, and going out with just that one person is probably the best. And I think that's the one I inhabit. But other people will say, oh well, God puts us in relationships to build us and grow us, and even though they don't last forever, we still benefit from being in that relationship for that period of time. And there's others who, there's one bloke on there who said that he wouldn't kiss his um, partner, girlfriend, whatever, before the marriage, which is, well, yeah, I mean, it's not what I would do, but that's him, and that's why people find it difficult, because you have these extremes again, and then we have this kind of grey area in the middle, and because it's not uniform, people are uncomfortable. I think people find that uncomfortable because of the idea that religion is religion, and this is what we have to abide by this. We have to have a rule. So if you're going by the rule and he's not, then it doesn't matter, does it? And there's so many shades of grey. That's because it's open to interpretation, and it's not so much. I mean, with the guy who won't kiss, it's not like the Bible says no kissing. It's more like I'm going to put this safeguard in place for myself, so I won't do anything that I'll regret, because in I don't know what book, but Saint Paul, who wrote most of the New Testament, they're the Jesus bits. I'm sorry if that's patronising, but they are. He said that sin is the stuff you don't want to do, but you do anyway. And bearing that definition of sin in mind, I think putting those kind of safeguards. I mean, every relationship has certain safeguards, certain boundaries that the couple put in place to stop them doing something that they don't want to do. That they do want to do. They do. There's no denying it. They just don't want to do it yet. It's a head over genitals matter. So I don't really have a conclusion to that. I mean, it was just really interesting, and you should. I definitely recommend everyone should watch it. But I want you to. But if you're a non-believer and you watch it, what I want you to bear in mind whilst you're watching it is that to a believer watching that, things like the prayer tent and the worship, filming people worshipping, it's I don't think it's very good, because it's a very private, very personal thing, and you don't, and it's a very communal thing with God. Christians find, and I find because I'm a Christian, and you don't get any of that when you film someone going like this. You don't get it, that's all lost. So you can't really understand it from that. It's musical worship wasn't made for filming for a non-Christian audience, really, especially. Um, so I want you to bear in mind that when a believer sees that, they don't see it as a bit weird. They just see it as a normal part of life. I only saw it as a bit weird because I'm not used to seeing it on the screen, and being represented like that unnerves me because I'm so unused to it. Yeah. So, but apart, that aside, if you're a non-believer watching that and you put all that stuff aside and consider that normal, because to us it is normal. It's only normal because of the exposure, as I said. Then what you're left with, the relationshipness of it, is very apt. I think my memory card's going to go any second, so I definitely recommend you watch it. Yeah, it's going there. Yeah, and see what you think. And we're not weirdos, I swear. But if we try to appear too normal, does that make us look even more weirder, like we're overcompensating? It's a whole thing in Christianity, being the church versus being the world. Because the world's not of God and the church is, so there's a difference, there's a tension there. But you got to embrace some of it, or at least a style of it. Anyway, I'll leave you to ponder that. Good night. It says 1 second, but it's been far longer than 1 second. Oh, now it's counting down for... They were minutes. I could have had lots more intellectual points that didn't have a conclusion. Oh, I've got it. Okay, what it's really about is